I am ready. In fact, you know what? I am going to get started. So I'm going to officially welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We got a great crowd. And you know how I know that? You guys are talking to us already. Look at this. I love that. This is fabulous. And you know what? This is just a peek into what this year is going to be like. We have new information. We have new webinars. We have new guests. So it is going to be an amazing, amazing year. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kara Hauk, in case you haven't seen me here before. And I work in community engagement, which means I work with the community. Patelco has a strong commitment to supporting community organizations and helping to lift up our community. So I get the great job of working with many, many nonprofits in the community and that help people and do some amazing work. So I want to remind you, as I do at the beginning of all of these, and maybe I don't need to remind you because everyone's already chiming in, this is your time. This webinar is for you, and we appreciate this. This shows your commitment to yourself to be financially healthier than you've ever been, to start today and make great new choices, or some of the same choices, just to have the best financial life you can have. So be sure to answer questions. We will stop as they come up. If we don't get to them during the webinar, we will definitely answer them at the end. I do again have to warn you, there's a lot of fabulous information that you will get today. So if you feel like you miss anything, don't worry. Veronica will be sending you a copy of this recording afterwards. You'll get it in a few days. Also, you may have read that we will be giving out some gift cards. And what we do is after the webinar, we randomly select some of the people who were at the webinar, and then you will get a little surprise in the mail in about a week if you are one of the fabulous winners. So I always want to remind you too of all the other resources that are available to you. We have certified financial specialists available that we will also talk about at the end of the webinar. And you can always go to our website to see what webinars are coming. But just to give you a little preview, our next one is in 2 weeks, and it's Smart Moves to Paying Off Debt. And you know I'm going to be there because I need that. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Veronica Dangerfield. But I want to tell you a little bit about her first. She brings an engaging and thought-provoking enthusiasm to her webinars. She's a financial educator for Patelco Credit Union, an award-winning international speaker, a published poet, and a professional comedian. I bet some of you who've heard her before knew that. What you will remember most is how much fun you had learning, and you'll be armed with key takeaways that will shift your thinking and impact your financial life. So with those big promises, I know we can deliver. I'm giving it to you, Veronica.
Bravo and welcome friends and cousins and neighbors. I am so honored that you would give me an hour of your time on this Wednesday night. And let me tell you, I am bringing you the best that I got. I actually went because I am a consummate researcher. And I think that I broke the code on budgeting. I have 3 different types, you guys. So I am hoping that regardless of where you are, of how you feel about budgeting, that this is going to be the best budgeting webinar you have ever had. And with that said, shall we begin? As Kara said, there's so much information. You don't have to worry about writing it down because I will send you a copy. So first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant is nobody really wants to budget. A lot of people might think that they don't have enough money to budget, or they get anxious budgeting. But today we are going to step out into courage. And we are going to look at budgeting a whole new way. Imagine what if budgeting, the tips that I gave you today was you could find ways to allocate happiness to increase positive experiences in your life. And once you control your money, you can control your emotions. And when you can control your money and your emotions, you live better. There's so much stress right now with the coronavirus and the isolation. I would love to get out of this little box. I have been in this box for 2 years and I am like a super extrovert. I mean, if we had an extrovert contest, I would beat all of y'all because I was tested 98% extroverted. But we can do hard things. We can learn new skills and we create what we pay attention to. So today we're going to learn about budgeting. I'm going to actually give you 3 ways to budget. And at the end of this presentation, you will be born again into the budgeting arena of your life. Yay! So just imagine you came in 2022 to this presentation and you went on a trip to Hawaii with your family. And the gas main broke at home, but because you had ample savings, it did not take away from the quality of the experiences that you have with your family or what you can do with life. So if you want to go to Hawaii, if you want to go to Tahiti, whatever you want to do, budgeting is like your fingerprint. It's personal. And sometimes us financial people try to group everybody together and say that one thing is good for everyone. But I'm telling you, it's personal. Your budgeting is personal, just like your life is personal. So hopefully we can find strategies and tactics so that you can have more experiences. Because you guys, right, we're not going to be able to get out of this alive. And this is not a dress rehearsal. So controlling your money will enhance the quality of your life because it will enhance the quality of your financial decisions. So budgeting made easy. So that is my goal tonight. My goal is to not only make budgeting easy, but make it fun. Make it something that you want to do. You spend the energy of your life working, and you're working for money. And that money should work for you. So budgeting made easy. This is my tactics today. I'm going to talk about the zero-based budgeting, which is every penny is budgeted. I'm also going to talk about a priority-based budgeting for those of us who are not very analytical, and we like to make lists, and we ain't that crazy about math. Okay, and then I have the last one I have is forget about budgeting in the small expenses. Just focus on the 3 biggest expenses and try to cut them down by 20%. So like I said, it's a lot of information, but I want you to cherry pick because I have something that is going to actually revolutionize your life. But I don't know what that is, but you do. So after we have this presentation, I'm sure you're going to be very, very excited to write something down. So your first assignment is, I want you to write down 3 things that enhances the quality of your life, that enhances your experiences. And I want you to keep those on the side because we're going to revisit those later. Okay. The reason why I'm on this planet is to teach, preach, and make people laugh, to lift you up, to show you who you are and the beauty and the glory of your beautiful soul. Now, if you ever made a financial mistake, today is your financial birthday. We will begin from now. Everybody's doing the best they can with the ability and awareness that they have in each moment. All of us are doing the best we can, so no guilt, okay? So at Patelco Credit Union, we want to teach you how to manage effectively. When you have a budget, and you can control your day-to-day expenses. You have an emergency fund, and you're able to seize opportunities and rise up. That is our goal. That is our goal, to manage effectively, to be resilient, to seize your opportunities so you can rise up. Our goal is for you to have the best financial health available by increasing your financial capacity. Oh my gosh, that just sounds so beautiful. Reaching your financial capacity. So the first reason is you have to know your why, and your why has to be stronger than immediate gratification. Your why has to be strong so that you have something that will lift you, lift the momentum when you feel tired. A lot of people work 9 to 5, and at the end of the week, they're very exhausted. And what they do is they use their money as a pacifier to go spend aimlessly so that they can feel good. But I want you to know your why. I want you to have financial goals, and I want you to get very familiar with them. My financial goal is to be an international bag lady. I want to be able to travel around the world with no luggage. Buy what I need when I get there and donate it when I get back. So those are my things. Maybe you want to be work optional. So if you have and your why is strong, it's going to pull you like a magnet towards living the life of your dreams. Is it simple? Is it easy? It might seem simple, and it may not be easy, but guess what? Being stressed out over bills is not easy either. And always having to deal with the same type of repetitive financial challenges, that's not easy either. So if we're going to go with easy, why don't we challenge ourselves to get on a budget, to understand why we're spending, what we're spending it on, and then direct those funds to a happiness allocation so that we can experience more of life. Ashe? Do I hear Ashe out there? Now, Ashe is a Yoruba word from Africa. All of us have an inner Ashe. It's kind of like amen on steroids. So when I say you are going to live the life of your dreams, starting with your budget, everybody's going to give me a hearty Ashe. Right on. So your biggest journeys start with a small step. And the small step is figuring out today something that you're willing to commit to. And then give up perfectionism, because guess what, you guys? Nothing is perfect. What you want to do is you want to be flexible, you want to be adaptable, and you want to know that if you do something and you start on your budgeting and you fall down, expect it. Failure is not final, and everything in life is temporary. That's all we have to do is breathe. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for making this first step on your budgeting journey. And have patience with me because I got these 3 big ideas, and this is the first time. In fact, you guys are getting the spectacular debut of the flagship budgeting presentation. Oh my God, I am so happy. I'm so happy about this. So we're going to start out with financial fundamentals, okay? If you don't know your financial fundamentals, it's going to be very difficult to budget. Then we're going to talk about budgeting categories. We're going to talk about creating a budget, and then we're going to talk about the roadblocks, okay? So the first thing you guys got to do, primary, fundamental, you've got to protect your income. And income protection is a little bit different. I'm not talking about insurance, because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I am talking about enhancing your job skills. I am talking about making sure that you, the more you learn, the more you earn, that you're using yourself as an investment. In fact, Benjamin Franklin said that learning is the best investment. Okay, so knowing that invest in yourself, boost your earning, and allocate your energy, allocate your resources, and allocate your okane. I didn't tell you guys, but when I was a little girl, I used to live in Tokyo, Japan. Yeah, and we call money okane. So I want you to allocate your energy, allocate your resources, and allocate your okane. Ashe? Ashe. Become a lifetime learner. My budget, I have one budget that does not have a stopgap, and that's my budget for books. So maybe you can have something in your budget that makes you a better person. It creates a better living for you, and give to that richly. The next fundamental are type of insurance. You need health insurance so that you can stay healthy. You need life insurance if you have children, or if you're married and you have people that are going to be missing your income if something should happen to you. You need homeowners insurance, renters insurance, just in case there's any risk, and you need auto insurance. And also you need to save for the deductibles for each of these. So if something happens, you have that money in your savings account. Right, Mr. Guy down there? So, and also you have to save. Now, I talk a lot about saving in my savings strategy class, but in order to save, you have to do the 4 S's. You have to save separately, safely, and securely. You have to, so you have, and so you have to take your money, you have to put it in an account that you don't touch. That is how you can eliminate the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Do not spend all your money. Pay yourself first. What? Yes, I did. I said, pay yourself first. And also, did you know that most Americans are going to have 5 to 7 financial emergencies? They're going to cost you between $300 and $500. You want to make sure your financial emergencies don't turn out to make you a financial catastrophe. Okay, so pay yourself first, have a fund together, make it separate, and always make savings a budgeting expense. And then the estate planning. Did you know that if you don't plan your estate, the state of California will? And usually it's going to give your children as much grief as it does losing you. So make sure that you have a power of attorney, financial and health. You write a will, even if it's informal. And if you have more than $650,000 worth of investments and real estates and assets, go find an attorney. Get this done. All of us are going to eventually turn into butterflies and transition. Be ready to do that. It will support your family so very much. And then I don't call this retirement anymore. You know what I call this, you guys? Work optional. How many of you guys would like to be work optional? Yeah, maybe I'll get up and go to work today. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll work from France. Maybe I'll do freelancing. Maybe I will use all of my time donated to a favorite charity. And that is what retirement is about. If you're a young person, it's time to save. If you're an older person, it's time to save. You got to start where you are and know that regardless of where you are, what time is it? It's now o'clock. Okay, you guys? It's now o'clock. So this is what the experts say. I find this very aggressive, but I just wanted to show you a parameter of how people think how much you can save. This one is a little aggressive, but it's just good to know. So now we're getting ready to talk about budgeting. And a great budget takes care of expenses now and anticipated expenses. You want a plan that happens when your plan doesn't go according to plan. So I'm going to give you, like I said, we're going to start with the zero sum, very analytical, lots of math, lots of categories. And then we're going to go to the one-page budget, and then we're going to go to the three major categories budget, okay? And this is just for some perspective. $10,000 a year is just $27.40 a day, you guys. So I want you to think about, what would you do with an extra $10,000? Where would you go? What type of choices would you make? If you didn't spend $27.40 a day, what could you do? So this is just a perspective, just so they can show you that every penny counts. So a budget is telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. This is by Dave Ramsey. It increases conscious spending. Now, increasing conscious spending is so very important. It's almost like with the Fitbit. Because I count every single one of my steps, I don't miss a step. When you count money, it actually grows and you honor it. Because if you don't count money, money don't count. And you know, and all of us has had this experience, right? We're walking around with $100 bill and all of a sudden it disappears. You don't know where it went. In fact, you're still looking for it. So what you want to do is you want to honor money as an honored guest. You want your money to be your boo. You know, you want your money to have, you want to have a great relationship. So it improves spending, it avoids debt, because if you don't make sure that you're consciously spending, you will have to rely on credit card debt in order to balance your budget. And supplementing your income with credit card debt is detrimental to your financial health. What you say, Veronica? Supplementing your income with a credit card is detrimental to your financial health. But if you're counting it, you will understand. And it also supports your financial goals. So we're going to start here with the fundamental again. Needs cannot live without, and wants are discretionary. But I want this to be a little bit more personal for you guys, because some of the discretionary things are needs for me. You know, for instance, I'm a horrible cook. I'm horrible. In fact, my kids will not eat my food unless I sit down and eat it myself. In fact, my cooking is so bad that that the rats use dental floss to hang themselves when crumbs fall on the floor. I think I messed that joke up. But anyway, so eating out is a way for me not to waste food, because I'm only one person, and since nobody eats my food when I buy it out, so whether that's discretionary is more important, and then also it increases my experience. So needs cannot live without. You're going to have a list of your housing, your utilities, your car, blah, blah, blah. And then you have your discretionary. And some of your discretionaries might sneak into the needs department, but that's okay. Because what? Your budget has to be personal. You have to have a love affair with your budget. You know why? Because your budget is going to give you that trip to Hawaii. That budget is going to give you that trip of Disneyland with your kids. You know what I mean? So we're going to go from there. So two sides of your net worth. You have your assets are what you own, and your liabilities are what you owe. At the beginning of the year, it's a fantastic time to do your assets and your liabilities, because even if you're 50% very successful at budgeting, at the end of the year, you're going to be sending me a Christmas card and me a gift card. Why? Because your financial trajectory has changed for the positive. So find out what your net worth is, 2022, and in January 2023, we will all celebrate. So this, you guys, is the zero sum budgeting app. Okay, this is if you're going to put every single penny down. You have your paycheck dates, you have what your assets are, you have your budgeting for check 1 and check 2, you have your savings account. This is what it looks like. Now, some of you eyes probably are rolling to the back of your head. And if you are, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Stay with me, because after we go through the fundamentals with the basic zero sum, I'm going to give you an easier solution. But some people have to do it this way. So we're going to do it for everybody. So we're also going to talk about, this is old school, your fixed costs and your variable costs. Now, your fixed costs, your mortgage, rent, your retirement savings, your emergency savings, your cable, your utilities, although they are fixed, they can still change, right? My utilities, I just got, I keep my house at 68 so that I won't have $150 PG&E. Your utilities costs, so that you can control these. And then you have your variable costs, right? You got your technology, you got your daily spending habits. Your daily spending habits, you guys. Let's talk just 3 seconds about your daily spending habits. If you're not tracking it, you're wasting it. It's very easy to go and get a Starbucks and then go out and then have a little snack for lunch. And then all of a sudden, you've got a really big category. Since this is the beginning of the year, you guys have a record of all the money that you spent last year. I want you to be brave, and I want you to look at it. I want you to look at how you spent your money last year. Your credit card statements will actually send you an itemized, and find out how much you spent, not to feel guilty, but so that you can allocate some of those funds to enriching your life and experiences. We're going to call it the happiness allocation, okay? And then your income. This is your after-tax income. This is what you're going to do. And savings accounts. I have multiple savings accounts because it makes me feel like I'm richer, even though it's the same pot. And also, I save for my anticipated expenses that are coming up. You know, I know that my insurance is going to come up. I'm saving for it. I know that eventually I want to have my pretty braids again, and I budget and I save for that. Why? Because you get your hair done and your whole budget is blown. Not for me. So we're talking about anticipating future expenses through your budget. And what you're going to do, you're going to track your savings. You're going to track the due dates on your credit cards. I have 3 young people in my house. I have 2 sons and a daughter. My daughter, I could give her my entire financial statement and she would do it to the penny. My older son, he forgets. Oh, I forgot about that payment. When you forget about a payment, guess what you do? You put your whole financial life at risk. You know why? Because it's going to ruin your credit. So track your due dates, track your upcoming expenses. And my youngest, now he used to be the type of child who will borrow money from you and then give your money away to somebody else in front of you. But he is getting much better because I'm hoping that it just rubs off the right way. So here we are talking about expenses. The ones that cost you the most are, of course, your entertainment. I think Americans spend a lot of money eating out on food. I think it's like 25 or 35%, but we'll talk about that later on. Holidays, do you guys budget and save for birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries, New Year's? And so this is, again, some expenses. Oops. I don't know how that happened. So here we go. So also you want to make sure on your committed periodic intervals. So this is where it messes a lot of people up. I have a friend who has a graph when all of this is due. So your committed periodic expenses, know what they are, write them down, and understand them, okay? Okay, come on there. Okay, so this is the second one. We're going to talk about the second way you can do a budget, okay? So you're going to make a list, you guys, one list. It can be on like legal paper. You're going to do your must pays. You're going to do your maintenance, appearance, food, entertainment, comfort, and extra stuff. You're going to make the list from the top priority to the lowest priority, okay? This is after you've already established what the amounts are, okay? And when you start to, if you have an emergency, or if you have a contingency that you didn't budget for, you're just going to go up the scale and budget from there. For instance, something came up and I had to go to the dentist because I broke a tooth. So I have all of my budgeting itemized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop at the extra stuff that I've already spent on, and I'm going to use the money from the extra stuff to pay for those expenses. So this is a second way to do it. It's a great start. You just need to list everything down and then put a priority to it. And then when contingencies come up, you can either go up the ladder or down the ladder. Super, super simple, super easy. I think this is a great way to start a budget if you hate numbers. And also, it's a meter. When things are more priority, it stays towards the top. When things are less priority, they stay towards the bottom. So having a basic, these are fundamentals again, estimating your income, your gross income. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this. This is all your income. This is your income from your work. This is your income from your gigs. This is your income for everything. I was coaching a young person on her budget, and she was working 3 jobs. But since she didn't have a budget, she didn't know that it was not necessary for her to work 3 jobs because she didn't have a tight handle on her expenses. So when you write them all down and you know exactly where they are, that's like putting premium gasoline into your engine. And your engine is a 2022 Mercedes-Benz, because you guys are all Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. So estimate your income, all of it. Estimate your expenses, plan your savings, and then balance the budget. So this is the last type of budgeting. This comes from Grant. He says that just look at the top 3 biggest expenses and try to save 20%. I have here a Bay Area expense. 50% of our income goes to housing. I know, it's very, very difficult. And then we have transportation, and then we have food and miscellaneous. So he says that forget skipping coffee, skip all the little eating stuff. Just focus on the top 3 categories. He says if you can, no budget, but save 20% on your housing, 20% on your car, shop for different, never buy a new car, buy a car that's 2, 3, or 5 years or older, competitively shop for insurance. And if you live in a city like San Francisco, try not to own a car. When I lived in the city, I had to have a specific budget for my car because one thing, I was going to get tickets and I was going to get towed. It was like $450 a year. And also, he recommends limit eating out. Some of the suggestions he had was like, make sure that you're eating fresh food. When you go out to parties, bring your own flask so that you're not buying expensive alcohol out. He talked about sharing food and also sharing your living space in order to control your expenses. So these are the Bay Area housing prices. As you can see, housing in the Bay Area is really, really high with food, with personal insurance and pensions coming in second. That's unusual. I don't think that's like the rest of the country. And then we have food and transportation and then healthcare. So how to track your income and expenses. This is a multiple choice question with no wrong answers. I personally like to do it old school. I like to go and actually track it in a spreadsheet with pencil and paper. But you guys, this is a multiple choice question, but there are no wrong answers. This is like dating, right? You got to find something that you like and you can live with. You can do it electronically, online, on your mobile, digital budgeting options. You can do a spreadsheet. It doesn't matter. They have they have Every Penny, which is the Dave Ramsey one. They have, you can get a budget. Some of them cost $5.99, $6.99 a month. But if that $5.99 a month saves you a couple of $100 a month, it's definitely worth it. Ashe? Ashe. You're going to track your progress monthly. I suggest you have a date. Remember, your money is your boo, right? So you're going to have a date. So maybe you're going to make every other Friday night a date, and you're going to have candles, and you're going to have wine, and you're going to have your financial statements in front of you, and you're going to make it fun. James Clear talks about habit stacking. So maybe you can have nice music, and after you finish doing your budget, you can go salsa dancing. Yeah, you could put some nice salsa music on and dance the night away. Free and fun, and something to look forward to. So adjust your plan as necessary. Be accountable with someone other than yourself. I have my younger son and I have a contest. No sugar, no fast food, no junk food. And if he wins, he doesn't have to pay me rent. And if I win, he has to pay me. And you know what? It's so motivating. It's just so motivating to be accountable to somebody else, because if I had to do that just by myself, I wouldn't. And then celebrate your victory. But I want to encourage you to be gentle and kind to yourself. I saw a meme the other day, and it says, you should talk to yourself like you talk to your pet. Don't get mad at yourself when you don't meet a goal, but ask questions. Ted Lasso says, people jump to judgment, but they should be more curious. So ask yourself questions. Why did I feel like I had to buy that? What was I feeling at that time? And also, if you do retail therapy, keep the receipts, because that high doesn't last very long, but the debt does. So keep your receipts and know that this is a progressive process, making one step at a time, and making it positive and proactive, and being kind to yourself through the process, because this is only going to increase the quality of your life. And I also read something, I forgot what it's called, but it's a part of our human makeup is when we start something, we want to finish it. So start on your budget and let the psychology of being a human help you finish it and stay on it. Okay, so guess what? Your number one expense is saving. Ashe, saving is your number one expense. Why? Because it's going to prevent you from living paycheck to paycheck. And you deserve more than living paycheck to paycheck. It's like subtracting your life. Okay, so saving is your number one expense. You can, I suggest you save in multiple accounts, save secretly, safely, securely, and don't access that money. You will be happy that you did. Pay off debt, we're going to do a pay off debt webinar at the end of the month. And I love reducing debt. I'm going to show you how to do it in weather conditions. We're going to have the snowball, we're going to have the blizzard, we're going to have the snowflake. It's just going to be great because reducing your debt increases the quality of your money, because whatever your interest rate is, you actually gain that back. So if you were paying 18%, you get 18% more for your money. Why? Because you don't have that debt. And I don't want you to feel guilty about debt. I don't want you to do that because debt is an American way, but I want you to be responsible with it. I want you to be proactive with it. And most of all, you guys, I want you to feel optimism. We can get a payoff debt for our debt, and we create what we pay attention to. Right now, you're paying attention to your money. It's going to increase. We're going to pay attention to your debt. We're going to make it decrease. So, yeah, automate your fund account. I'm telling you guys, life is way too hard not to have a fund account. You work hard for your money. Make sure that you have fund account, and it doesn't have to do with money. You can go camping. You can go hiking. You can watch comedy series. You can be very, very proactive about this. And I also want you tonight to look around your house. And I want you to ascertain whether the stuff in your house is giving you joy or not. And if it's not, you can increase your income by taking a picture of it and putting it on Craigslist and getting rid of it or donating it. So we're going to be focused on having the best life ever. Surrounding yourself with beautiful stuff and acknowledging that you're precious and everything that you have is precious. And we live on a precious earth, and we're all here to take care of ourselves. Okay, budgeting solutions. Emergency fund, sinking fund. The difference, emergency fund is going to be able to pay for your expenses for 3 to 6 months if you lose your job. Your sinking fund is for infrequent but planned expenses. Your insurance, your mother's birthday, and having a goal. You can do the emergency fund and the sinking fund. They don't have to be bank accounts. You can have, for your sinking fund, you can put it in envelopes. But as Malcolm X says, any means necessary. Think about your money. Think about your life. Think about planning for anticipated expenses. And think about increasing the quality of your financial decisions to increase your capacity. Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm prone to spontaneous, and I'm also prone to spontaneous action. So please continue to come to my my videos and my webinars, because I don't even know what I'm going to say. So, but hopefully it'll be good solutions that'll change your life. So this is the 50-30-20 budgeting rule. This was made by Elizabeth Warren, who is a senator, but she used to be a bankruptcy attorney. Oprah also advocates this: 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on your savings. Again, because we live in a Bay Area and our housing costs are so expensive, sometimes this doesn't work for us. But if I wanted to do this, I would try to make the wants 20% and the savings 30%. But eventually you will get there. You're not going to arrive there right this moment, but progressively and progressively, each day, we become better and better. We learn more, we grow more, we think about things more deeply, and we're deeply compassionate about ourselves. So you guys, you know that we learned about money, not from school, but by our parents' behaviors. And sometimes we incorporate those behaviors and not even think about them. And when you, this is a nice opportunity to write down what you think about money and then verify whether it's true or not. Because I took some things in money and I had to do some real soul searching. And I found out a lot of things that I thought about money wasn't true. But since I research this all the time, I encourage you to sit around and have a conversation with your family, have a conversation with your beloved, have a conversation with your children, and think about how you use money for a budget. So I had one of our members come and she wanted to know about how to budget when you have a fluctuating income. And what you're going to do is you're going to have the basic zero. You have to use the zero-based budgeting if you have a fluctuating income. So every penny. And then what you have to do, you have to get down to the bare bones, absolutely essentials and the discretionary. You got your rent, your utilities, your food, and your bills, and start out with that bare bone, and then calculate it monthly, and that is what you're going to live off of. And then you're going to make an adjustment. And once you find out what that number is, when you go above it, you can use that money to save, or you can pay yourself an income. Okay, so and there's also other things. I'm going to send the young lady who sent me the email actual list that talks a lot more about this, but it's possible to do. It's not easy, but what in this world has been easy? Ashe, nothing has been easy. So just because you have a fluctuating income does not mean that you cannot do a zero-based budget. In fact, it's critical that you do. Another budget, the 70% rule, where you have 70% on your expenses, is probably closer to the Bay Area. And then you have 20% for your savings and debt, and then tithing. I love giving money away, because when you give money away, you understand, one, that there is no scarcity, that you can always generate an income. A lot of people are afraid of budgeting because of scarcity. And scarcity is simply fear, where you fear that there is not enough. But when you understand that that there is no shortage of money, and if there is a shortage, if you feel like you have a shortage of money, maybe it's a shortage of imagination. Maybe you should go and Google 500 ways to make $500 in 30 days. But there is no scarcity. So when you tithe the money, you're opening up your hand so money can flow. You know, they call money currency. And what happens when the water stops flowing? It gets stale and stagnant. But when water flows, when money flows, it makes our whole system balanced. So don't be afraid to give money away. In fact, make that a part of your life, because I'm telling you, the studies have shown that giving money away is one of the best ways to feel good about yourself and help your community. So the anti-budget, this is the last one. The anti-budget is where you save the first 20% of your income and then just survive on whatever else you have. So long as you're saving money, you're putting money into your savings account, you're saving money for your retirement, you're saving money in a contingency fund, So I actually gave you 4 ways to budget. And now I'm going to talk briefly about living on a reduced income, because we're getting towards the end and I want to answer some questions. Is a situation temporary or permanent? That is how you start your focus. You develop a budget, prioritize your expenses, living on a reduced income, zero-based budget. Recognize that you're not your salary and ask for help. What are the triggers that affect your figures? Be mindful when spending, know your why, identify your spending triggers. What is it? It's called hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Don't ever shop. It's called HALT. Don't shop when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, or excited. Learn how to budget and automate your bills. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. So you guys, we have a ton of resources here. We have My Financial Journey, which we have certified financial specialists that can help you with budgeting. They can help you with your credit, and it's free. We also have Balance that has more written information, Patelco.org. You can find me at Patelco.org, and we have a channel. And we also have something that's called Bonsai. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my next presentation. I'm going to get it on the presentation. Wow, that was a whole lot of talking. I hope you don't feel overwhelmed. I hope you feel encouraged. And Kara, do we have any questions?
We sure do. So I want to start out with, you were talking about one of the money experts earlier about cutting 20% off your highest expenses. And someone was wondering, how do you cut 20% off your mortgage?
So the thing is that it's a creative thing. What they said in the research that I did is sharing your living space, having people, that's basically what it was, is that since housing is so expensive, but there's a sacrifice for that, right? There's a sacrifice. So that's the best I could do with that.
Well, I love how you say getting creative. Yeah, because that's really what it is, right? Is trying to think outside the box and come up with some new ideas.
Absolutely.
Some of the other things people were asking about is, do you have any specific apps for budgeting that you would suggest? And do you have any budgeting forms or websites you would suggest people to go to?
What I can do is I can, since I'm going to be sending all of you a copy of the presentation, I will send you one of my budgeting worksheets that I like. It's very, very basic. And You Need a Budget is a really good app that you can use. And then there's another one, it's called Penny, but I will also include in the email all of my resources for looking at different budgeting resources. How about that? I'll share, you guys.
That sounds awesome. I'm sure they're really going to appreciate that. Some people were asking about budgeting while starting a business. Do you have any ideas about that?
Well, I think that although I don't have a lot of experience with it, it's very similar to budgeting personally. It's the same standard. What are your monthly expenses? It might be a little bit more fluctuating because you might have a good month, you might have a bad month, but the financial basics still stay the same, I do believe.
Do you suggest saving money in a money market account?
Absolutely. So the only thing is that, right on, Karen. The only thing that you have to remember is when you're saving money for an emergency account, you're not going to look for a high interest one, but the convenience is more important. And because interest rates are so low, you're not going to get a whole lot of money in your savings account. When I talk to young people, they didn't want to put money in the savings account because it's hardly any interest. But at least it's safe and you know where it is.
So if you have a lot of debt, should you be saving money or paying off your debt? And I just have to put a plug in here. We will be talking about this for the entire next webinar, but I'm sure you can answer some of that now.
I suggest that you do not forsake savings for paying off your debt, because what's going to happen? An emergency is going to happen, and then you're going to be in deeper debt. So I recommend always saving money, regardless of what your debt load is, because that money is going to be become your savior. Get it? Save your. Good one, Veronica.
So someone's asking about financial apps like Mint. Do you have any ideas about those, or do you want to share anything?
You know, I love Mint because it has everything all at once. But I tell people to be cautious because with all of the fraud and stuff going on, to make sure that if you put all your financial information in one place, that it's safe. The hackers, because it's a third party place, the hackers have been unrelentless this year. So as long as you're keeping your money safe and you know that it's the website is secure, it's a wonderful way of looking at the entire picture all at once.
Well, we have a question from a young man who is working to move out, and I want to say, good for you. That's awesome. He's wondering if you have any advice about how to get ready for the big changes. He already pays rent and utilities, but what other things would you suggest to really get him ready to be living completely on his own?
Yes, I think that he needs to have a conversation with a few people. I think he should have a conversation with his friends that are living out and ask them what are the surprises, because they're already experiencing what you're going to experience. I want you to get this book called A Simple Path to Wealth. And I want you to read it because it has good financial foundational information for you. And I am so excited. Stay with me, stay coming to our webinars, ask us lots of questions, because you don't need to be an expert if you know one. And guess what? Here she is. Ashe.
So I did just put in the chat, The Simple Path to Wealth. That was the book that Veronica just suggested. And it looks like we have pretty much wrapped up most of the questions. So,
so you guys, remember, there is the zero sum, which budgeting every single penny. And then there is the priorities, so that you can put your priorities in a list. And then there's the Mike Gabriel things, where you try to limit your 3 most expensive expenses. Okay, I want to encourage you. Don't give up. Make sure that your financial life is filled with good financial information. Come back. Let us support you. And also be happy. Make great financial decisions and have great experiences with your money. Because if you have great experiences with your money, it's going to last a lifetime. You're going to anticipate going, you're going to have a fun time when you get there, and then you're going to talk about how much fun you had. Okay? Thank you so much for taking out your precious time to hang out with Kara and I. And we love you. We love you. We do. And we want the very, very best for you. And we will continue giving you the best that we got. Okay? Have a fabulous night. Thank you, Patricia. Thanks for coming. J-Lo, love you. Karen, love you. Phyllis, Jennifer, Diane, bye.